saying there's one type of question that, or one thing about some of your quizzes that separated you from the kid who would have gotten the 75 or 100. And it's something we've been over many, many times. And I don't know if you're not getting it right because you're not paying attention to it. I don't know if you're not getting it right because you don't want to get it right. I'm not sure, but it's not difficult. It's pretty easy. So what we're going to do is graph each of these one at a time, and then we'll get going on the do it and through the lesson and so on and so forth. So the first line that you were supposed to graph on your quiz was the line. Waiting for the little green pen to go off here. Y equals -3 halves x plus 4. All right, Angelina, you're one of these who I don't know where you're coming from with this. You somehow came up with a slope of 2 on your first question. Now, the first thing everybody has to do is when you look at the equation of the line, you should all label what is the slope and what's the y-intercept. What's the slope of this line, everybody? -3 over 2. Remember, the general equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. How hard is it to realize, Angelina, you with me here? How hard is it to realize that the slope is in front of the x and what's in front of the x is a -3 over 2? Yes?
Why is x here? Like,
Think of it as a placeholder because on a coordinate graph, there's x's and there y's. So you can't get a y without knowing what the x is. So it has to both be there. Okay? Now, what about the y-intercept? What is the y-intercept on this line going to be? Everybody?
4.
4. Now, if there was a strength that, we just talked a minute ago about how about 2/3 of you got 75 or 100. About 1/3 got 75, about 1/3 got 100, and about 1/3 did a little worse than that. Even on the kids who did worse than that, the one thing they were very good at, by and large, was figuring out the y-intercept. So that's a step in the right direction. Now, in this case, the y-intercept is 4. So I have to touch it 4. Alexandra, I think it was you. On your paper, I think you touched over here where x was 4. You don't want to do that. It's called the y-intercept. So you want to go on the y-axis where the y is 4. So there's starting. It's the reason we use a b for y-intercept is what, everybody? It's where you begin. Very good. So I begin at 4. As soon as I mark that down, I got 25 points. It's a 50-point question. You get half credit if you mark the y-intercept correct. Now, let's talk about this slope for a minute. What kind of slope is this, or what is the value of that slope? -3 halves. If your line goes like this, what kind of slope does your line have? Positive. Would you please look at your paper if you did not get 100? Look at your slope. Is your slope going up, or is it going down? A negative slope is supposed to go down. There were at least 6 or 7 of you who had slopes going up. How can you get a negative slope to go up? It can't happen. So how many times have you guys seen this diagram?
A lot.
A bunch, okay. So my point is, the minute you're looking at this question, if you want to get it right, you're noticing, oh wait, that slope is negative. I better go down. Going left to right. So my line has to look kind of like this. And of course the zero slope is right in the middle. So now I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. That's what this means, rise over run. Down 3, over 2. Down 3, over 2. Now I can fill in the backside, which is just a way of extending the line. And there's my line drawn. Listen, there are some very difficult things we do during the course of the year. Beginning at the y-intercept is not one of them. Knowing that a negative slope goes down is not one of them. These things are not difficult. Now, I just got done telling you that around this whole y equals mx plus b, the graphing, the knowing the slope, knowing the y-intercept, about 40 points on your next test. So if you can understand everything I'm doing here, you got 40 points to start with. The other 60 points are all review. And you already know a piece of that. If you have a 50 average, you know half of it, that would be 30 points. 30 plus 40 is a 70, you already passed. And I'm here to tell you, I know your averages, the overwhelming majority of you are way over a 50 with your average. Okay, now the next graph, this is the one I thought would give you a hard time, and you surprised me. You did a nice job on this graph. It was y equals x minus 1. Can anybody tell me why I thought you would have a difficult time with this? Elizabeth?
You didn't put a number.
Yeah, I didn't put the number in front of the x, and I thought some of you guys would mess up what the slope is. But almost everybody got the slope on this one right. Look, again, we all go back to understanding lines, y equals mx plus b. M is the number in front of the x, but you were able to remember that when I don't write a number in front of the x, what number is there? 1. So the slope is 1, and the y-intercept is -1. And like I said before, we did a really nice job with y-intercepts on this quiz. So I begin at -1, here it is. Now I'm going to use my slope, which is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. There's a little backside right here. Okay, so I want to go back now, and I want to just mention one thing. Is this a positive or a negative slope?
Positive.
Positive. So what direction does it have to go in? Up. Look at your paper. How many of you went down? I'm thinking maybe you're looking at the y-intercept and confusing it with the slope. Maybe. Okay? The y-intercept has nothing to do with whether you go up or down. It's just where you begin. This is a negative slope. This is a positive slope. So you should have went up when you graph this particular line. Okay, so you're going to have on the next quiz, all right, so next week you got a pretest Monday, a pretest Tuesday, a test Wednesday. When you come back, there's another quiz. On that quiz you're going to take when you come back, there's going to be graphing. There's going to be graphing on your test coming up. Graphing is a huge part of what we're doing now. When I'm away, some of the days are going to be spent reworking graphing to get you to the point where every person in this class can get any question about y equals mx plus b completely correct. What are we doing there, Angelina? Let's put it away. No, that's not away. When you fold it and you put it under your desk. You were folding it? Yeah, and away so that we can do math now. Now, let's take a look at today's sheet. Same thing happened yesterday where it didn't want to slide it up. Maybe it's because I'm projecting it off the internet. That could be the problem. That could be the problem. Okay. Yeah, what happened yesterday was the first time it ever happened to me. And for some reason, I'm having a hard time finding this on my computer, but I knew I put it up on the website. So I just went to the website and did it. Okay, so here we go. Write the equation of a line whose slope is -1 and whose y-intercept is 4. There's one question like that on your test. To me, this is about as easy as it gets. It's significantly easier than graphing. Now, as soon as it says write the equation of a line, BAM! What pops into your head? Y equals what? M x plus b. What are you, a robot? Y equals mx plus b. It is kind of robotic though, right? You see it, you write it. Now, the slope, what letter slope? M or B? M. The slope is -1, so that gives me y equals -x. If you put a 1 there, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And the y-intercept is 4, so what do I write next? Guys, what do I write next? Plus 4. Done. Okay, again, on your test coming up, you're going to get a question exactly like that. I don't think it's difficult. Yes?
You don't, I understand that there's the one for it, you just don't need it, it's like unnecessary.
Right. Exactly. But if you put it there, you're just as right. And you would never lose points for it. Think of it is, if this was a multiple choice question, they're never going to put the 1 in front. So you have to realize the way it is. Okay, next, write the equation of a line that's parallel. Now, there is a question on your test that talks about parallel lines. As soon as you see parallel lines, what do you know about those two lines?
They're equal.
What it's equal?
The slope.
The slopes are equal. So, write the equation of a line parallel to this one So it means it has to have the same slope. So the new line has to have a slope of a half. But it has the same y-intercept as this guy. What's the y-intercept on this guy? -3. So I'm going to get y equals 1/2 x. Remember, it's parallel to this guy over here, so it has to have the same slope, -3. Okay? Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. In all honesty, if I was to turn around and say to you guys, I am going to give you $1,000 next Wednesday if you can get those kind of questions right, would you get them right? Do you look at those and go, man, that's way too hard for me?
No.
Definitely not. Again, we already have 2/3 of the class getting 75s and 100s. So if you're not getting it right, it's because you don't want to get it right. And if you don't, listen, I gotta tell you something I've learned in 51 years. There's always a price to pay. There's this old saying that says you reap what you sow. To sow means to plant seeds. To reap means to harvest. Do you really think you can ignore your education? Choose not to do your work, not care about your work, and all of a sudden, when you turn 25, your life is going to be okay. Do you really think that's going to happen? It's not. So you have to, but on the other hand, the flip side of that is, if you work hard now, if every time something gives you difficulty, you don't wimp out, and you say, let me keep working at this, let me keep trying, I can do this. If you do that, when you're 25, things do work out for you. You can't allow yourself to be that lazy as to not be willing to do this work. For $1,000, you'll do it. You know, the catch-22 here is, if for $1,000, every person here would do the work, they'd be like, oh man, yeah, I will definitely get this for $1,000. Do you know how much money you make the rest of your life after you're done with school? It can mean millions to learn to get the stuff in school right. Yes?
With this, I get a little bit confused, even though I know how to do it. It's just when it says parallel lines, I would do the bottom, like, confuse the two. Would that still be right if I put -3?
No, you're wrong, because it would have a different slope. It's not parallel to the line that has -3. It's parallel to the line that has a slope of a half. So it has to have the same slope as the line that has a slope of a half. Okay? That's a reading issue more than a math issue.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always try to practice that.
Yeah. And believe it or not, when you guys take your state test this year, one of the hardest parts of that test is going to be the reading. You're going to know the math. The reading's going to give you more difficulty. Okay, number 3, write the equation of the line that passes through 1, -3 and 3, -5. Now, as soon as a problem talks to me about writing the equation of a line, what automatically pops into my head? What equation? Y equals mx plus b. Look, you guys are starting to get the hang of this. You're starting to say, hey, listen, I figured this out now. It's all y equals mx plus b, and it is. Everything. This whole unit is all about how much do you understand y equals mx plus b. So let's do 1, -3. Here's 1, -3. It's right here. And then let's do 3, -5. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So now I'm going to draw there's 2 ways to do this, and by far the easiest way is to graph it, and then say, okay, look at the y-intercept and the slope. So here's my line. I just graphed it. I apologize that it's down low like that, but I got to kind of do it because I needed to keep the points up here. Now, as you look at this, talk to me. Let's do the easy part that everybody's getting right on the quiz, or virtually every person. What is the y-intercept? Everybody. -2. Touches right here. That would be -2. So the y-intercept's -2. What's the slope? First off, don't give me a heart attack here. Is the slope positive or negative? Negative. It's going down. Negative what? You could say that it's -1/1, or you could say -2/2. Both of those are correct because I'm going down 1/1, or you could say, well, I'm going to go down 2/2. But if I go down 2/2, what does that reduce to? -1. So my equation of my line is y equals -x minus 2. If you wrote y equals -2/2x minus 2, that would get full credit. Okay, that would be fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Any way that you write 1, a number divided by itself would give you credit on that.
I only put -2/2, and I just
Right, and that's fine. You would get absolute full credit. The only thing you need to realize is, were this a multiple choice question, they would never put 2 over 2. They would just write negative x minus 2. So you need to realize that you could reduce it to that. Okay? All right. So, you know, each and every day that we're working in here, we're not doing a bunch of radically new stuff. What we're doing on each and every given day is we're just augmenting and building up on what we did the day before. Little bits here, little bits there. So, now, let's, oh, there we go. You try this one. Write the equation of the line that passes through negative 3, 2, and 1, negative 6. Go ahead, plot the points, and then draw the line, and then come out with what the correct equation for that line would be. I'll give you about 30 seconds or so. As soon as it says write the equation of a line, what pops into your head? Y equals what? Mx plus b. Very good. Okay, let's get those points grabbed, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go through negative 3, 2. Now, this is with negative 3. So, Shema, I'm not sure you got this part right. Negative 3 is over here, 2. Right? Negative 3, 2. There's the point, negative 3, 2. Look, remember when we set this up? Zero's in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. There's negative 3, 2. Remember, any point is always x, y. The x is negative 3. Here's where the x is negative 3, and the y is 2. And 1, negative 6. So here's 1. Oh boy, negative 6 all the way down here. Okay, so I got to draw a line that goes right through there. All right, so it looks to me, yeah, it looks to me like I'm going down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Is that what you're getting on your paper too?
Well, yeah, I reduced it to 2 over 1.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely count the whole thing, which would be down 8 over 4. You could do that. But as when I draw that line, I see I keep going through the whole points here. So I'm going down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Now, the fact that I'm going down, what does that tell me about the slope? Negative, good. So I'm going y equals down negative 2x. If you want, you could put the negative 2 over 1. That's really good to put negative 2 over 1. The only reason I don't do it is on multiple choice. Do you really think they're going to put the over 1? And what's the y-intercept on this guy? Where does it go through the y-axis? Negative 4. So it's y equals negative 2x minus 4. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
I don't know what I did, but I went up and then I went down. I tried to do it and it just didn't. Like,
Well, obviously the up would be wrong.
yeah, and the way I plotted, I don't know how I plotted the points.
Me either. Maybe you did negative 1, 6 or 1 negative 1, 6. I don't know.
It just went up, but I tried going down, but it just couldn't be straight.
Yeah, I have no idea why you went up. Okay, let's take a look at what the next thing we have to do is. Okay, this time it says to write the equation of the line that passes through 1, 2, and 4, 8 without graphing. And this is a legitimately hard question. I believe with all of my heart and soul that everything we have done this period, the quiz, the plotting of lines, I think it's all very doable. I didn't say it was super easy, but I think anybody who works at it will always be able to get it completely right. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. I've never taught a kid who was incapable of getting that right. This, on the other hand, is a challenging question. It's the kind of question, first off, that if you were given this question on a state test, it would be a partial credit question. I think it's easy to get partial credit on it. I think it's challenging to get full credit. That's not to say I don't think you can do it. I think most of the people in the class can get it right. But it is going to be difficult, and you really got to work at this one to get it right. So what are the first 6 words, or 5, first 6 words in this set?
Write the equation of the y.
Bam! What does that always mean? Y equals mx plus b. So if you can figure out m and you can figure out b, then you can get the answer to this. I'm here to tell you m is not so hard, b is tough. So it says without graphing, so I can't graph it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go off on the side and I'm going to figure out what is the slope of this guy. So I'm going to use that formula we've been using the last few days. You know, when I was in high school, I had a great math teacher named Mr. Poten. He was very good. The other one, Mr. Braze, was fantastic. Mr. Poten was very good. And he used to tell us, never ever study a formula. Never. Don't study formulas. He just said, every single time you need that formula, write it down. And if you write it down every time you need it, you'll remember it after time. So I don't think you should go home and make flashcards. I don't think you should go home and go, m equals y minus 2, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, m equals y2 minus... No, I don't think you should do any of that. I think you should just write it down every time you need it. How many days in a row have we written this formula?
3, 2.
I think we're closer to 5. Yeah. And guess what? I know I'm going to be out for a little while, but you're going to do it both days next week. You're going to do it on Wednesday. And when I come back, you're going to do it every day for a month. So if you do it, you will get this right. Yes?
Why is it 2 first and then the 1?
If you could do it the other way. You could do 1, 2, 1, 2.
So it doesn't really matter.
It makes no, right. The only thing, boys, why is there like distraction here? The only thing that matters is that the numbers are in the same order. So I'm going to call this point 2 and this point 1. It makes no difference. What you need to remember is this says the y from the second minus the y from the first over the x from the second minus the x from the first. So this is going to be the y from the second is 8 minus the y from the first is 2. The x from the second is 4 minus the x from the first is 1. 8 minus 2 is 6, 4 minus 1 is 3, and I get 2. So, yeah, that's fine. So I get y equals 2x plus b. Okay. If this was a 4-point question, you just got 2 out of 4. Okay? So I said it's easy to get partial credit. The hard part is, how do you get b? How? Here's how. I showed you this yesterday. I think I showed you the day before. Plug in x and y. 2 equals 2 times 1 plus b. You solve it, you get b equals 0. You go back in here and you get y equals 2x plus 0. Tough question. Okay, we got to keep working that one. We'll be working that one most of the year. Hasta la vista. Vaya con Dios. Toodaloo. Ta-ta. Arrivederci. Smile a lot. Ciao. Arrivederci. Adios, amigos y amigas. Garusharus. Ta-ta. See you later. Enjoy. See ya. Here we go. Working hard. Nice job on that quiz, Uni.
I didn't get a cookie.
No, you got to do it the first time to get the cookie.
That's me.
Oh, is it?